She told me to wait in the lobby until someone could escort me out. So I waited. I waited for 37 minutes. I sat on a cracked brown leather couch that smelled faintly of old polish and impatience, watching dust motes drift lazily through the morning sunlight pouring in from the floor-to-ceiling windows. They moved slowly, beautifully, completely unaware that my career had just been erased. It was just long enough. Long enough for the chairman of the board to walk through the main entrance, slow his stride, look directly at me, and ask a single question that would end her career. Why is my compliance officer sitting downstairs with her badge deactivated? My name is Clara Whitman. I am 42 years old, and until 8:42 this morning, I was the head of compliance at Stratosphere Logistics. The summons didn't come by email, which was the first red flag. It came as a short, sterile phone call from Leona Graves' executive assistant. Her voice was thin, tightly controlled, stretched with a nervous energy that leaked through every word. Ms. Graves would like to see you in the primary boardroom on the 28th floor. She's asking that you come immediately. A brief pause. Just long enough to feel intentional. And please bring your employee ID card with you. 3 harmless words. On their own, meaningless. But in that context, they formed a blade. No one asks you to bring your ID to a meeting. They ask for reports. Files. Data. Your ID is assumed. It's the electronic key to the building, to your office, to your professional existence. Being asked to bring it felt like being asked to bring your own shovel to freshly turned earth. I knew. Instantly. I didn't rush. Panic wouldn't help me now. I saved the document on my screen, a risk assessment for a new Belgian distribution partner riddled with compliance red flags. I closed the program. Took a sip of lukewarm water. My hands were steady as I unclipped my badge from my waistband. The plastic was warm from my body. The photo on it was 7 years old. Shorter hair. A tight corporate smile. Eyes that hadn't yet learned how heavy institutional knowledge could feel. The walk to the executive elevator felt endless. The open-plan compliance department, usually alive with quiet keyboard taps and murmured conversations, seemed to fall silent as I passed. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe that silence was only inside my head. I kept my gaze forward, refusing to meet the eyes of my team. They were good people. They didn't deserve to watch their boss walk to the gallows. The 28th floor was different. Thicker carpet. Muted colors. Air that felt thinner, heavier. Leona's world. I wasn't taken to her office. I was led into the main boardroom, a cavernous space dominated by a massive mahogany table that could seat 30. She sat alone at the far end, silhouetted against a panoramic city view washed in indifferent morning light. She didn't look at me when I sat down. Her eyes were fixed on her laptop. Her fingers tapped slowly, deliberately. Each soft click landed like a chisel against my composure. Clara, she began, her voice flat, rehearsed. As you know, the company is undergoing an operational review to maximize efficiency. As part of this process, we are implementing targeted structural recalibrations. Corporate anesthesia. Language designed to numb before cutting. Unfortunately, your role has been identified as redundant within the new framework. Your position is terminated. Effective immediately. Redundant. After 7 years of building one of the strongest compliance departments in the industry. After saving this company millions in fines and reputational damage. Reduced to a single, bloodless word. Who approved this decision? I asked calmly. It wasn't a plea. It was a compliance officer's reflex. She paused typing but didn't look up. That information isn't relevant to you. The boardroom door opened. 2 men in ill-fitting suits stepped inside. Corporate security. Leona had timed it perfectly. This wasn't about safety. It was theater. Ms. Whitman, if you'll come with us. I stood. Didn't look back at Leona. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction. The elevator ride down was silent. They didn't take me to my office. I was informed my personal items would be boxed and shipped. They walked me straight to the main lobby. Brenda, the receptionist I chatted with for years about her daughter's college applications, wouldn't meet my eyes. One of the guards held out his hand. Your badge. I placed it on the scanner. A red light blinked. Final. In that silent flash, 17 years of corporate identity vanished. Ms. Graves has instructed you to wait here. Someone will escort you out shortly. He gestured toward the couch. The one between the security turnstiles and the revolving doors. Corporate purgatory. A warning on display. So I sat. Delivery drivers passed. Clients were welcomed with smiles. The company moved on without me. I focused on the details to keep my rage contained. The hum of conversation. The sweep of the clock hand. 37 minutes. I counted every one. Leona hadn't just fired me. She had humiliated me. Leaving me here wasn't procedural. It was personal. Then I heard it. The soft chime of the executive elevator. Not the regular one. The private one. I saw his reflection first. Tall. Silver-haired. Impeccably tailored. The air in the lobby shifted as he stepped out. Conversations dipped. Guards straightened. He scanned the room, then stopped. His eyes locked onto me. He walked over slowly. Deliberately. Clara, he said, voice calm but sharp. Why are you sitting down here? I met his gaze. Apparently, I don't work here anymore. Mr. Whitaker. The change in his expression was immediate. Not anger. Something colder. More dangerous. He didn't ask questions. He accepted the fact and moved. His assistant approached security. Keys clacked. Voices dropped. There's no termination paperwork, the receptionist whispered. Just an administrative flag. It was exposed. Not a firing. A lockout. A back-channel execution. The chairman turned back to me. Come with me. The lobby went silent as I stood and walked beside him toward the executive elevator. I wasn't the woman being escorted out anymore. I was the woman leaving with the chairman. As the doors closed and the car began to rise, he turned to me. Last week, you revised the Delta 9 compliance report. It was approved, then withdrawn yesterday. Does that have anything to do with this? Yes, I said calmly. Appendix C, the revised version. He nodded once. He understood. When the doors opened on the 28th floor, I saw her. Leona Graves. Smiling mid-presentation. Confident. Victorious. Then she saw me. The color drained from her face. And in that moment, standing beside the most powerful man in the company, I realized something very important. Leona had made one fatal mistake. She left me in the lobby. And she left me there long enough for the truth to walk through the front door. The executive elevator doors closed behind us with a soft, airtight hush, sealing me inside a moving chamber of power. The carpet swallowed sound. The air smelled faintly of cedar and expensive cologne. It was just the three of us now. The chairman, his assistant, and me. He didn't waste time. Men like Jonathan Whitaker never did. Your revised report, he said evenly. The Delta 9 export contracts. Walk me through what you found. I could have told him everything. The bribe disguised as training fees. The shell companies. The quiet threats. But emotion would weaken the message. Evidence never did. Appendix C, I repeated calmly. Specifically, the version that was pulled from the board's review system yesterday at 4:03 p.m. The elevator slowed. He nodded once. That was all the permission I needed. The doors opened onto the 28th floor. Thick carpet. Glass walls. Silence that carried authority. Down the hall, I could already see Leona Graves standing at the head of the conference room, stylus in hand, mid-sentence, surrounded by her inner circle. She was radiant with confidence. Victorious. Until she wasn't. Someone noticed us. Then someone else. The room went still. Leona turned. Her smile froze. When her eyes landed on me, standing beside the chairman of the board, the color drained from her face so fast it was almost frightening. Jonathan Whitaker entered the room without slowing. "We'll pause the presentation," he said, voice calm, lethal. "There's a personnel matter that requires immediate clarification." He gestured toward the table. "Sit." No one argued. Moments later, the glass doors were closed. The room sealed. The air thick. Jonathan took his seat. He motioned for me to sit beside him. Across the table, Leona sat rigid, hands clenched, jaw tight. "I found our head of compliance sitting in the lobby this morning," Jonathan began. "Her badge was deactivated. No termination paperwork exists. Before we go further, all personnel actions are frozen company-wide until I understand why." He turned to me. "Why was your revised compliance report removed?" I inhaled once. Then spoke. "Because Appendix C identifies a fraudulent clause added after final compliance approval. A clause that reclassifies regulatory penalties as shared operational expenses, concealing liability from our balance sheet. It violates SEC disclosure rules and constitutes potential wire fraud." The silence that followed was absolute. Leona leaned forward, voice too quick. "That's a misunderstanding. A faulty draft was uploaded by mistake. A version control issue." Jonathan didn't look at her. "Then we'll verify the version history." He turned to his assistant. "Pull the server logs." "That won't be necessary," I said quietly, reaching into my bag. I placed a small black USB drive on the table. "I already have them." The logs filled the screen. Timestamps. File names. User IDs. My final sign-off. Then another entry. 2:03 a.m. file modified. User L. Graves. IP address, residential. Greenwich, Connecticut. Leona stared at the screen like it was a verdict. "That edit was made from your home," Jonathan said softly. "Explain." She didn't answer. "And the report removal?" Still nothing. I continued. "I flagged the discrepancy 3 times. Email. Memo. Direct message. No response." Jonathan's gaze swept the table. "Who authorized the deletion of the revised report?" No one spoke. Not one of her allies met his eyes. Loyalty dissolved instantly when evidence entered the room. Jonathan stood. "All access for Ms. Graves and her direct reports is suspended pending investigation. Clara Whitman will assume temporary control of compliance and auditing related to this matter." Leona's empire collapsed in a sentence. The hours that followed moved fast. Faster than fear. I returned to my office, escorted not by guards, but by silence and stares. My badge still didn't work. A red light blinked. Until security received a handwritten directive from the chairman himself. I had 12 minutes. That's how long it would take before panic spread and evidence disappeared. I went straight to the archival server. Targeted pull. Delta 9. 6 months. Execute. A progress bar crept forward like a heartbeat. While it ran, I searched email logs. Not for obvious words. For their euphemisms. Rationalize. The results flooded in. There it was. Leona ordering inventory adjustments to make the numbers look clean. Temporary. Just for review. Reconcile later. Then the final piece. Data transfer logs. Large encrypted packets sent from Leona's desktop to a personal cloud account the night before. She was exfiltrating data. Preparing her exit. The progress bar hit 100%. I had everything. Contracts. Emails. Logs. Intent. I sent encrypted copies to the chairman and general counsel. Then I confirmed the meeting I had scheduled months ago, quietly, carefully, just in case. Federal Trade Commission. 11:30 a.m. When Jonathan texted back one word, proceed, I knew it was over. The final board meeting was surgical. Lawyers. Evidence. Audio. Leona tried to fight. Tried to frame me as a saboteur. Then Jonathan played the recording recovered from her system cache. Her voice. Late night. Unfiltered. Delete the warning. She'll never know. The room went dead silent. Her resignation was refused. Her termination was signed. Effective immediately. I watched from the 28th floor as she was escorted out through a side exit. No applause. No audience. Her ID card slipped from her hand and hit the marble floor below. She didn't pick it up. Later, Jonathan returned my badge. Fully restored. All access. I'll be here tomorrow, I told him. I'll come through the main entrance. He smiled once. That evening, I stood by the leather couch in the lobby. The same one. I didn't sit. I didn't need to. The executive elevator chimed softly behind me. This time, it was opening for me. Leona told me to wait in the lobby. And I did. But waiting wasn't weakness. It was positioning. Because sometimes, when you're left in the lobby, you're not being dismissed. You're being placed exactly where the truth can find you. Thank you for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes integrity still matters. Your support helps these stories reach the people who need them most.